What's going on, guys? Zach here, and today we're going to take a look at my branded Despia deck profile. So yesterday, funny story, totally actually not related to this. I went to locals and they had a competition. If you buy one OTS pack and you can show the judge for that tournament you're received, then you can take part in and win this playmat. And guess what? I won it. So yeah, I will soon be making a Crystal Beast deck profile relating to the structure deck that just has been released, Legend of the Crystal Beast. And yeah, guys, I actually love to do deck profiles. I know a lot of people might just be copy paste everything, but whatsoever. Okay, so let's just start out before I tongue twist again. We're starting out with triple copies of Aluba the Jester of Despia. I was very close to screw it up there, but yeah. So Aluber is actually the best searcher to this deck profile because summon him and then you can just search after any of your branded spell and trap cards. Next up, I'm using 3 copies of Fallen of Albas. Fallen of Albas in this deck profile is also very good to have 3 of. I am thinking about maybe to include the new Albas the Ashen card. I don't know yet, because if I do, it will only be for experiment and sees if it can do something. But Fallen of Albas is just one of the best cards that has been added to this game. Summon this guy, discard a card, and then fusion summon away by using this card and your opponent's monsters. Next up, also to the Despia type, we're using double copy of Despian Tragedy. This is also a very good searcher because if this card is sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, you can search after one Despia monster except for Despian Tragedy. In the most cases, fine, discard or banish this card and search after a looper. Then summon a looper and continue your search. Of course, you will be aware of your opponent might using hand traps in some decks, but you can work around them. I can, at least. Next off, we're using one Dramature of Despia. This card is actually a good one-up in this deck profile because I'm not using the bigger Despia monsters so much. Of course, they are good to have because Dramature of Despia have the effect to negate effects and special summon himself when he is used for fusion summon. Next, I'm using one Ad libitum of Despia, and this is actually the last Despia monster in this deck profile. This is also a very good card because he can just special summon and he also reduces the attack points of monsters on the field. So again, a very good one-up in the deck. The next card is one Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous. This monster is just good to have because tribute her, special summon Fallen of Albas. And again, I'm using her because she is light type and you can much more faster get your Albion out. Then I'm using 2 copies of Etium Chain. You can't see shit for the light, but I'm sorry guys. This is what the card looks like. This card is one of the better cards you can use in this. I have been thinking about, but I actually just scrapped that idea as well of what's it called? Using Fluffles in the branded archetype because, well, yeah, they are a fusion archetype, but yeah, they don't work as well as Despia does. And Etium Chain is just a good card to use. Dark, you can search it easily with your Frightful Patchwork alongside with your Polymerization. Then I'm using a copy of a card that I didn't know could actually do something good for this deck profile, and that is one Ross Disciple. This card. Normally you will use this for, God decks, but this card actually have the funny effect when this card is on the field. When when this card is summoned, you can blah blah blah. Where's this is read? Yeah, longer down in the bottom. You cannot special summon monsters. So alongside with a trap card in this deck profile, you can lock your opponents out from special summoning. Then from the structure deck Elba Strike, we are using one copy of Tri-Brigade Mercuria and one Spring Against Kid. Mercuria in this deck profile is just good because you can set it up as a hand trap against your opponent, and Kid, yeah, you can just get a free special summon. Then also for something that I figured out and found out that actually works very very well is one copy of Fusion Parasite. This card can be a substitute for any fusion material, and for the most times, I just use them for fun and call Dark Magician. You guys know what I'm using this little filler to, but I'm also using it if I just need, well, let's say I need to summon Mirror Jade, and then I will just call any fusion monster there is in the game. Then for the hand traps, I'm only using 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, because this deck is not relied so much on hand traps. I actually much more like the idea that I can just summon out my cards. I know hand traps is still a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! After a long time, and Ash Blossom might be the strongest hand trap. But again, the only thing other than Ash Blossom is my Mercury as a hand trap. So yeah. And for the last monsters in this deck profile, I'm using 1 copy of Destiny Hero Dasher and 1 copy of Destiny Hero Celestial for our fusion summon of Destiny Hero, Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer. So yeah, guys, that was the monster cards. Let's get alongside with the spell cards. And for the spell cards, I'm using 3 copies of Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion in this deck profile are just the best spell fusion card you can use. Because, yeah, send the materials from the deck to the graveyard. The only catch is, it has to be of a fusion monster that mentions Fallen of Elbas. But again, I think 80% of the X deck mentions Fallen of Elbas. Maybe 65%. But yeah, we can figure it out. Then I'm using 3 copies of Branded Opening. Branded Opening in this deck profile is also very good because discard 1 card. In most cases, fine, I'll discount my Despian strategy. And then you can either search or special summon. And then you can use strategy's effect to search again. So a double search. And this card also protects your fusions by banishing this. It works like, what's it called, the Salmongrade Bale Links. The little link one that protects the Salmongrade archetype. This card here is the Bale Links for this deck profile. It protects your fusions, and you can search after cards with it. Then I'm using 2 copies of Branded in Red. This is also one of the better fusion cards because with this card you can special summon 1 Despia monster or Fallen of Elbas from your graveyard, and then after that perform a fusion summon by using monsters on your field and in your hand. Most likely I use this to summon out Guardian Chimera, and in the most cases in my battle phase, because then I can get a 3300 points monster and just attack with that after popping 2 cards. Then for the last branded spell card, I'm using 1 copy of Branded Loss. This spell card is actually very good in this deck profile because you can destroy monsters special summon from the extra deck your opponent controls. And then at the end phase, of course, if you're not dueling against Branded, you know they can't summon a fusion monster from their extra deck that mentions Fallen of Elbas, because that effect will affect both players. During the end phase, both players can special summon 1 monster from the extra deck that mentions Fallen of Elbas after destroying 2 special summon monsters on the field. That is just a great effect. But hold on, we are not done with our fusions. For the next, we are using 2 copies of Polymerization. one alternate artwork from Hidden Arsenal, and one gold rare version. Polymerization is just, in this deck profile to a searcher. Also, in most cases, if I need a card to discard, I'll discard Polymerization. Because, well, I don't need Polymerization so much more than I thought. Then I'm using 2 copies of Super Polymerization. Polymerization and Super Polymerization is this deck profile. Yeah, what can I say? It's a fusion deck. Of course, you need to have Super Poly in this deck profile as well. And again, for the last fusion spell, one Fusion Destiny. Why not? Of course, you guys know it. I love it. Because I will say Destiny Hero Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is one of my favorite fusion monsters that exist. And I think a lot of people, if it ever get banned, a couple of people might get annoyed by it, but I also think a lot of people would get very happy about it. Because it is a very annoying card to get against. Then for the non-fusion spells, 2 copies of Frightful Patchwork. This is our searcher for Polymerization and Etchim Chain. That's just it. One gold Sarcophagus, again, banish your Despian Tragedy from your deck and activate the effect to search. And again, Foolish Burial, send Tragedy to the graveyard. These 2 cards have the same goal. Send Tragedy to the graveyard and search after Despia monster. Then for the non-fusion or non-sent but just very annoying cards and searching cards, 1 Called by the Grave, 1 Harvey's Feather Duster, and the last card, I actually thought this could be fun to try out in this deck profile. 1 Pot of Prosperities, guys. I pulled it from my, the 2022 Mega 10 case opening. If you guys have seen it, please leave a like on it. And yeah, I just love this card's artwork and the whole effect. Because you get to choose what you're banishing. Of course, the whole extra deck is fusions, so I have to be careful what I choose. And for the last card in the deck, I'm using 1 branded Expulsion. I actually got a tongue twist there. This card is actually just in there because of this card. Because, let's say I have Ross Disciple in the graveyard, I then activate this card to special summon this to my opponent's side of the field. Very annoying, they can't special summon anymore. So, yeah, that's actually the only reason this is in. Now we move on to the extra deck, and for the extra deck we start out with one of the biggest boss monsters of the branded archetype. We're using 2 copies of Mirror Jade, the Iceblade Dragon. Mirror Jade in this deck profile is very good because he can banish cards and he have a total attack strength of 3,000 points. So he's just one of the best card in this deck profile. Then for my favorite fusion starter, Albion, the branded dragon, 2 copies of him, of course. This is basically the monster you want to summon out first with branded fusion. Because when this card is summoned, okay, fusion summon again. And when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, doesn't have to be your opponent. You can search or set 1 branded spell and trap card to your field. And that's just a lovely effect. Then we're using 1 Lubellion, the Searing Dragon. I was about to screw up there. So Lubellion is in this deck profile is also very good. You have to discard to perform a fusion summon. Again, a little bit of a trick to get your, let's say you start out with branded fusion, branded opening, blah blah blah, something. You summon into Albion, then you use Albion's effect to banish, summon into Lubellion effect to discard branded opening to perform another fusion summon. Then for the last branded dragon actually is 1 Albina to the best dragon. This monster is one of the most insane cards if you're playing against dragon decks. Because this monster have the effect just like Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon 2 seconds, guys. Sometimes when I speak very fast English, I get a tongue twist and I don't know when to continue the conversation. Who, yeah. But yeah, guys, Albelinatus is just a huge pain in the ass for Dragon decks. Because all it needs to be summoned is one Fallen of Albas plus one plus Dragon type monsters. I also have plans about maybe DNA surgery in this deck profile, making everything Dragon fine, effect, fusion into this guy. Because this card have the effect. This card can attack the same amount of times that there was used material for it. That is just a little bit of a Chimera Tech over Dragon. But yeah, guys, let me know down below in the comments. Should I play DNA Surgery in this deck profile, or should I just have it in my side deck and just take it out when I want? Let me know in the comments. The next, and this is for the Despia part, is 2 copies of Masquerade the Blazing Dragon. This card is also one of the most insane cards that has been produced for this deck profile, because this have the never-ending effect. When you control this fusion summon monster, every time your opponent activates a card or effect, they will automatically lose 600 life points. And one time in locals yesterday, where I won this, I actually got one of my opponents down to 400 life points for this effect, because he was using what's it called, Mech Knights. And then I just, every time he activated the effect, burn, burn, burn. And in the end, after that, he activated Dark Rune no more, took another 600 points of damage, was down on 400, and just negated the effect. But after that, I quickly came up with a plan because he attacked. I activated Brandon in red and summoned into the next card, which is Guardian Chimera. This card is insane to summon. This monster has this very awesome effect. When this card is fusion summoned, you can draw cards equal to the number of cards you used from your hand to fusion summon this monster. A little side note, in order to summon this monster, you have to use at least one card from each side, from each thing. So one from the field at least, and one from the hand at least. And then after that, you can destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards you used from the field to summon this card. And a better effect, when this card is on the field and Pulverization is in the graveyard, your opponent cannot target this monster with card effects. So that is just an awesome effect, guys. Next up, I'm using one copy of Despia and Proscallion, and the one copy of Despia and Quartzes. These cards are just the boss cards of this deck profile. I will say Quartzes might be the only boss monster, because he can lower everything except for level 8 and higher fusion monsters attack strength to 0. Proscallion is just a pain in the ass for them that is using extra deck monsters a lot, because he can special summon or banish them from their graveyard. And also, when this card destroys cards on the field or monsters, then I can just deal damage equal to the same amount of attack points to my opponent. Then for the last fusions, I'm using one copy of Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, then one Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and one Starving on Fusion Dragon, and one Predaplant Dracostapelia. So yeah, guys, this was my branded Despia deck profile. What do you guys think about this deck profile? I'm sorry this video has to be a little longer, but I haven't been doing a deck profile in a while, so yeah, guys. I will say this deck profile is pretty good, because it never fails me. Never. Only 2 out of 10 times. Because I break. Anyways, guys, that was everything for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see each other next time I make a Yu-Gi-Oh video. So, without further ado, peace out.